So I've had these Yamaha E B earphones for about 6 months now, so thought it was about time to do a long-term report. And I'm very happy to say that these have stood the test of time over the last 6 months. When it comes to the overall build of this set of earphones in particular, it is a very light set. The case is very light, and so are the earphones. And I really like the fact that Yamaha has used a matte finish and not the typical glossy that a lot of mass manufacturers have been using, because that tends to pick up a lot of scuffs and scratches over time. This thing has aged very well, and I think it'll last a good amount of time before it shows any signs of aging. On a comfort front, I myself have never been very comfortable with in-ear style earphones, but this does have more of an in-ear style design. But the ear tips are pretty soft and comfortable. So initially I do feel a little uncomfortable when I'm inserting it into my ear canal, but I get used to it fairly quickly and it sits fairly comfortably. Now, a big reason why I've never liked in-ear style designed earphones is because I tend to feel a little violated when I push them into my ears, but I'm happy to say that this doesn't really make me feel that way, because the ear tips are fairly comfortable once you find the right size ear tips. In fact, every other manufacturer is usually just providing you with 3 ear tips, which is the mediums on the earphones and a small and a large, whereas here you get 4 different ear tips with mediums on the earphones, small, slightly larger than medium, and large. So it's good to spend time and figure out which ear tip fits you more comfortably, and it's really nice to see that Yamaha is focusing on comfort as well as sound in the long run. One thing that this in-ear design does contribute to is the fact that it helps passively isolate a lot of noise. So a lot of people might say, hey, I'm looking for active noise cancelling, but while I was using this, I really didn't see the need for using active noise cancelling. In fact, I just used it to go for a walk in the evening, and I was a bit surprised and in fact a bit frightened to find out how well this handles passive isolation, because there were times when there were cars pretty close to me and I realized that they were there while they were honking when they were maybe just about 4 feet away from me, which is a little too close for comfort. Now, I wouldn't exactly recommend this for anyone if you're going outdoors for a run or outdoors for a walk. I'd say this is suited more towards somebody using them in the gym, because they do fit pretty securely and it passively isolates the noise pretty well. Coming to the feature of these, now Yamaha has not focused on features. In fact, their concentration has been on sound more than anything else. But on a feature front, these, some people can find them lacking. Now, it does have app support, but it is very basic over there. It literally, I think, has a timer which can switch the earphones off if you have not used them for a certain amount of time. And it has the listening care feature, which you can toggle on and off. I'll get into detail about this a little later. Now, it does have tactile buttons, which I do like, because I do get a bit irritated with tap controls, touch controls on some earphones, because there are times when they don't respond, which can be a bit annoying. With this, it's a very firm click, so you know that it has understood what you've done. It functions well. I have not had any issues with it. You can do the things like play, pause, and in fact, you can even increase and reduce your volume, which is one of the features that I've always appreciated with any set of earphones. If you plan on using these earphones for video consumption or gaming, it doesn't really have a low latency mode. Like I said, the app is very basic, but I find it to be, it's fine. I haven't really had an issue with it. It works fine for videos, and I myself don't game much. But if you plan on consuming videos more and gaming, particularly with these, here's a small demo to show you how it performs when it comes to its latency with videos and with games as well. Considering these are Yamaha's entry-level earphones, they'd make you think that these don't have much to offer. You'd be right and wrong to think that. These are the Yamaha E B. These don't have active noise cancelling, but they do come with environmental noise cancelling. They have one microphone per earbud, and they run an algorithm that helps isolate your voice over all the noise. So for those of you who are interested in knowing how clear these will be for your recipients for any calls, there really is only one way to find out. I'm calling you from the usual busy street I normally do all of these call tests from. In fact, the previous in-depth review does have the original recording that I did of how these earphones sounded at the time. So if you do want to listen to that and watch that review, you can go back to that, which I'll leave in the description below. So I have been on the camera microphone right now to give you a sense of how much noise is around me right now, because Uh, right now there seems to be a small pocket of no traffic, but usually there are a whole bunch of cars and scooters going by, and you'll get some tankers that have terrifically loud pressure horns. There is some construction work going on behind me as well, but from where I am listening right now, the noise, the isolation, the passive isolation is actually pretty good. I can barely hear a lot of this, but you can hear the environment through the camera microphone. So what I'll do right now is I'll switch over to the E3B microphone right about now. So this should give you a sense of what kind of tonal quality will carry over to your recipient when it comes to carrying your voice over to them. One thing I have found is that I find most Yamaha earphones to carry over a more natural sounding voice over to your recipient compared to a whole bunch of other TWS earphones, which I do like. Now over here, I have realized it doesn't do a very good job with environmental noise cancelling. Now, of course, that is part reason because it only has one mic per earbud, so it doesn't have a second mic to assess all the other noise and sort of isolate it, as well as other earphones that have more microphones. But this is pretty much a demo of how your voice would carry over, and I do hope that this has given you a better understanding of these earphones, and I will see you back in the studio. On a battery front, Yamaha claims that the earphones can achieve about 6 hours of listening time, and with the case you can stretch it up to about 24 hours. And I don't doubt Yamaha's numbers because I have used these earphones for about 3 hours at a stretch, and I think the battery percentage was not hit too hard because it was sitting at the 60 or 65% mark. It wasn't exactly sitting at the halfway 50% mark. I think Yamaha did the audio testing at about maybe 50% volume. It's kind of a standard process that a lot of manufacturers do practice, but because of Yamaha's listening care, I have never really found the need to go up to 50%. So I'm listening to my audio at about 30 or 35%. So because of that, there's bound to be far lesser battery consumption. So I think you'll get more than 5, 6, maybe even stretching up to 7 or 8 hours because this doesn't have active noise cancelling. So it's not really doing anything extra. So that's one thing to keep in mind. If you are listening to music significantly louder, this thing is going to eat up more battery, as it would affect every other TWS earphone out there. On a sound front, these little earphones almost put a spoke in one of my videos because I was planning on doing a TWS earphones versus in-ear monitors comparison, because there's a lot you can get in the audiophile world right now at that price range, in around the 2000 price range. So the difference between the E3B and the IEMs that I was comparing them to was maybe there was a 5% difference. So that kind of difference didn't really make sense to make the video anymore. So I was kind of stuck. So I did eventually compare the IEMs to another set of wireless earphones, which did give me a chance to have the video made in particular. So that goes to show how much Yamaha has focused on the sound front, because the overall detail recovery on these is absolutely terrific. Now, on a codec front, it supports SBC, AAC, and also aptX as well. So you can get higher resolution audio through these, provided you have the source, of course. Its high frequencies are subtle, its mids are soft, and the bass is more than adequate. In fact, it's a very enjoyable set of earphones to listen to. It doesn't hit sibilances with the highs. The mids aren't forward. They never squawk at you. It's always a very smooth delivery of the mid-range. And the bass is also more than full-bodied enough to enjoy. But I can see some people who prefer a lot of bloat and a lot of heaviness in the bass who will not like these earphones. And in fact, when it's come to a sound front, I've listened to these earphones after quite a while, and I've listened to a lot of TWS earphones over these past months. And honestly, coming to Yamaha is a very refreshing experience, because usually every TWS set of earphones is all about loudness. It's all about heavy bass, exaggerated highs, which can cause listening fatigue. But Yamaha has a very different approach towards sound. In fact, I find the way it sounds a lot more soothing than any other TWS earphone. So whether I want to use this for a commute or to even relax in the evening, it works very well for both. And coming to the volume factor of this, now a lot of other TWS earphones, I test or listen to them at around 45 or 50%. Now a big reason for doing that is usually when you amp a certain set of earphones or headphones to a certain volume, it comes into its own. All the highs and the mids and the bass sort of level out, they balance out, and it sounds more fun at a higher volume. I wouldn't recommend listening to any TWS earphone above 65 and 70% for a prolonged period of time, because it can damage your hearing in the long run. Now, coming back to damaging your hearing, Here's another thing that Yamaha has done, which shows their focus towards sound and your listening health at the same time, because they've got a feature called listening care within the app, which you can toggle on or off. And what does listening care do, you may ask? Now, it's a very simple, I wouldn't say simple anymore, because it is based on the Fletcher-Munson curve, which was coined many decades ago, but they've come a long way to reach where they are right now with a lot of research and development. So what they do is, at lower volumes, they compensate the high frequencies and the lower frequencies, so you don't necessarily have to crank the volume all the way up to 50 or 70% to really enjoy the earphones and the tuning of these drivers. So usually I find myself, like I mentioned, I listen to other TWS earphones at about 50% volume. With these, I don't even go past 35%. There is absolutely no need to, because the music is more than rounded enough, it is more than detailed enough at 35% volume. In fact, the funny thing is, I thought I'd only be listening to this at about that volume indoors, but when I did go out on my walk and I was listening to these, and I had cars going by and bikes going by on the road, I wasn't going past 35 or 40% volume, because what a lot of people do is they crank up the volume to compensate for the noise. There's no need to do that with this, because the isolation with listening care works so well with these. It's always an enjoyable listening experience with this. And the combination of that isolation with listening care will also ensure that I look after my ears in the long run, and I'm not going to be listening to louder volumes and risk losing any hearing. A question that you may have is, what if one of my Yamaha products does give trouble within the 1-year warranty or out of the 1-year warranty? Well, the good news is that Yamaha has service centers across the entire country and globally as well, if you're watching this from abroad. Now, by any chance, if you do get a Yamaha product which has a problem, I'm sure that Yamaha will be more than happy to figure it out. I myself haven't had any issues with this product in particular, but should you be in a situation where you are having a little bit of an issue with the service center with any of your Yamaha products, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll try and reach out to the right people and help you out, because I have realized that a lot of people are being put off with some after sales representatives in particular, and the loyalty tends to break away from a company because of one bad individual or one bad service center. So please feel free to reach out to me if you are having a problem. I'll try and put you in touch with the right people. I'd hate to break away from Yamaha just because there was an issue with one of my products. So would I still recommend these earphones after all this time? Well, to put it very simply, absolutely yes, because for me, sound is everything when it comes to a certain audio product. So I know a lot of people are gung-ho about having all the bells and whistles. You do have a lot of people who will buy a car because it's got the works, it's got sunroof and all the fancy features, but chances are you're not really going to use that as much as what they're built for, which is producing good sound. So Yamaha has focused all their concentration there. They've put all their R&D towards how these sound and how these function to make sure that they work just right. They've not tried to cram in every single feature that's available in the market into these. And the fact that they've got that aptX support just points at their focus is on giving you the best audio quality possible in a wireless form. So yes, I would recommend these if your priority is sound, but if you plan on picking up a set of earphones for running on roads or walking on a main road or small streets where there is moving traffic, I wouldn't recommend these for the sake of your safety. If you are walking in a closed park where there are no vehicles, or you plan on using this in the gym, then in that case, yes, I would absolutely recommend these, because these are terrific to listen to. These are more than motivational enough in the bass area. If you like bloat when it comes to the bass and exaggerated sounds and loudness, this is not for you. In fact, I find Yamaha to be a step in the direction of the audiophile hobby, despite being a wireless set of earphones, because the overall character is trying to give you a more natural and truer sound in your music. So how much do these cost? Well, at the time of recording this video, they have an MRP of about 8,490, which some people might think is a bit expensive, but the selling price at the time of recording this for the black one I've just seen on Amazon is 6,130, whereas there's a pink one that's going for 4,450. I don't think it's a renewed piece. I think it's a fresh piece. It might be just a stock that one distributor is trying to flog, but whether you get a black or pink, their characteristics in sound is not going to change, and they're terrific value for money. So you might be thinking, you know, what if I don't get the active noise cancelling and so on? And like I mentioned, I don't think you really need active noise cancelling because the isolation is as good as it is. But to put it very simply, if your priority is good sound and you want to appreciate what an absolute trueness in sound is, and you want to get more intimate with the music that you've been listening to over the last few months or years, stepping towards the E3B is a terrific thing to do. I don't think you'll regret it if this fits within your budget, of course, and your priority is sound. So I hope you found this video helpful and informative, and I hope I've helped you make some sort of purchase decision. If you would like to support the channel, I'm sure you know exactly how to. But of course, thank you for tuning into Paul's POV for some sound advice.